Alright, David, talk.
Mercedes.
Talk again.
Mercedes.
Not moan. I meant talk.
Mercedes, is that you?
David's literally gonna like find Mercedes in his own game now and just like marry her.
I mean, I've worked with her a little bit.
Wait, David,
You
why
worked
don't you
there
sit
a
on
little
this
bit?
chair?
You're like, Dan, how do you know that I haven't already
That's in
fucked
the
her?
Yeah.
But this is...
That was easy speak.
So the viewers can hear you better at home.
Alright.
Alright. And now I can actually take this. And yeah. How's it going? Dan, if you could stop playing for a
I
second.
was trying to get to the part where I could show you what I was talking about.
Dan. Alright. I guess we should start by introducing all of us. So, I am John, and I will be the moderator for this here podcast. We'll make sure everything's short, sweet, long, and drawn on. We're gonna decide what it's gonna be on the fly, because this is a podcast. And do you know what podcast stands for? Podically castable impossible.
You got that podacity.
I got the podacity.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to be doing with this podacity is channeling it with our inner might and our inner spirit. Okay, we're going to start over.
Our inner emblems of fire.
Make my fire gently beat my meat. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to what we are calling the Fire Emblem Podcast. Two veterans and a virgin. And what this is going to be is two Fire Emblem fans having a both varied history with the franchise and played similar games, as well as someone who is new to strategy RPGs as a whole, and more specifically, Fire Emblem newbie. And now, I'd like to shift it to my co-host, the other veteran, David. David, hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going?
You know what? It's going well. I'm excited to be talking about a game that I've already invested 40 hours in, and I'm not even halfway done. So that just shows my strange addiction. How about you? How are you liking the new Fire Emblem?
It's pretty good. It's a fun game so far.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get into this. So we also have with me the virgin to the show, Daniel, Dan the man. Welcome to the show.
It's nice to be here.
Speak loud so everyone can hear you, nice and proud.
It's nice to be here.
And that's us. Maybe in the future we'll expand, but for now, we are all playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, and we just wanted to share our journey with you, I guess, as it's going on. We all chose one of each of the different houses, so we'll have each of our own unique story and pattern, and it'll be like a little book club. I'm actually kind of excited about this. But I guess to start, who are we? Well, I'm John. I like to do video games and other pop culture-y things, and I like Fire Emblem. David, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm David. I like Parappa, and I like Claude.
I'm Dan. I gravitated toward Dimitri because I like spears. I think spears are cool. And I like Nintendo games a lot, but I was kind of under Fire Emblem protest because I was like, I think it was like after Korn got in Smash especially, I was like considering playing Fire Emblem, and I was like, you know what, because Nintendo keeps wanting me to play this game, I'm not going to do it. I literally didn't play it out of spite.
Yeah.
But I stopped being petty this year because I heard aspects of Persona.
Yeah.
I'll get into my like change of heart on JRPGs at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should say, like, I also play a lot of Nintendo games and a lot of other games, but I really want to focus on, Dan, besides Smash, what didn't click with you about the other earlier Fire Emblem games during the 3DS era?
Honestly, I think I just wasn't ready for JRPGs yet at that point in time. Because, like, I think I had a change of heart. Like, the first JRPG that I ever tried to play was Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is just, like, it was like a good game, but I feel like a lot of people know it as like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I found it very overwhelming. That was not a good place for me to start.
No, definitely you would think you would start with Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, exactly.
And then get interested. But what was your exposure to JRPGs, like looking out from an outsider when people were playing the Fire Emblem games and when they were talking about what they liked? What like stood out to you about the genre in the game?
About Fire Emblem?
Yeah.
Well, it was very like strategic, and I don't know. I've always liked the real-time games where I could like hit a button and see my character immediately do something.
Yeah.
And like I always liked Pokemon. Pokemon was really the only like RPG that I liked, but it was just so simple compared to other things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess like the tactical combat never really like resonated with me. But then I think I kind of changed my mind on like JRPGs in like it was like the end of 2017, I think, when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I heard that game was more simple than X. So then I went into it and I tried it, and I like it took me so I beat it like 65 hours. And I was just like addicted the whole way through. I could not put the thing down. So that was when I realized, like, you know what, like maybe I might actually like some other JRPGs now. So then it took me a while to like pick up another one, but the next one I ended up picking up was I think Persona, like just this like past, it was like 2 months ago.
Right, it was.
It was right before I left. And I played it like I had 2 weeks before I left for Santiago, Chile, and like I really wanted to beat it before I left, and I knew it was gonna be a tall order.
Yeah, that's a long game.
Yeah, it's like 100 hours, but like I did it anyways. I put 120 freaking hours into Persona in 2 weeks, and I beat it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that was honestly, it was a really good experience, and that game's definitely in like my top 10 of all time for sure. I don't know where it ranks because I have to like sit down and think about that, but yeah, I think like Persona like helped like, you know, move along my love for JRPGs further and made me open to like trying more things. And then I bought Ys, and I still need to beat Ys 8. But like I don't know, I'm a good
Adolf.
ways through it. Yep, exactly. Yeah,
Got
I
it.
know. I'm a Jew too. You know, what a great name for a great name for a
boy.
protagonist.
Oh
Japan.
boy.
Really did a great job with that.
All right. Well,
Yep.
David, so when did you start playing Fire Emblem, and are you a JRPG gamer? Because when I think about you, I don't think, anime fan.
Nice.
Definitely Die Hard.
Hey, same.
Yeah. So what's your experience with JRPGs and Fire Emblem?
Pretty minimal. But Awakening is where I started.
And what got you into Awakening?
I saw Fates, and for some reason, I was interested in it, despite having not played any of the series, not really playing JRPGs. So I went back and played Awakening, and the rest is history.
And then what other JRPGs are you into?
Pokemon. That's about it, to be honest.
Well, there's another classic JRPG franchise that you are a fan of, and that I know you want to revisit.
Which one?
Dragon Quest.
Ah, that's true. I played about 10 hours of one game, though. But
You played more than 10 hours. It's like
no,
20.
I played like 10 hours.
Okay, well, I gave you too much
But I
credit.
kind of loved it. But then the 3DS kind of got expired.
Yeah.
And then I put it down and couldn't really go back.
Mm-hmm.
But I love my boy Yangus.
Yangus.
Dude,
Yangus
Yangus
is amazing. That game is great.
He's a big, meaty boy.
He's a big meaty boy.
He's a bandit with a heart of gold.
And he says core blimey. I mean,
That's his one of the... Yeah, no, I'm telling you, Dan, off camera, because Hero came out for Smash.
Yo.
And I'm just... Okay, so I love JRPGs. It's my favorite franchise. I've played everything from Xenogears, Xenoblade, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Breath of Fire, Persona, Shin Megami Tensei,
Yeet.
Star Ocean, all the corners of the
there
world.
it is.
And Pokemon and Mario, and there's too many JRPGs to talk about, and I love obscure ones, but yes, David's showing us a nice little cheeky picture of Yangus, but yeah, so I've been open to everything, and Fire Emblem is just a series that I encountered when it came on the Game Boy Advance. I was hungry for a new game, and my parents helped me find a lot of games early on, and one game that I really loved as a kid was Advance Wars, and they haven't made an Advance Wars in a long time, but do you guys know what Advance Wars is?
generally, yeah.
Yeah, it's... Dan, do you?
No. I think I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Advance Wars is basically Fire Emblem, but you take out all the different characters and you make it like cavalry, like tanks and stuff, and you have like your commander, and they have like specific powers. And I think a new Advance Wars would be cool, but just because I liked Advance Wars, my parents were like, here's Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
So I played it on the Game Boy Advance, and I loved it. I got the Sacred Stones, and then I stopped playing for a while. And then I got it again on the 3DS Ambassador program, and then I just stuck around, and I've been playing Awakening, Fates, and I skipped Echoes because I was a little sick of the 3DS, but Three Houses is a pretty good time. I feel like that kind of like summarizes our experiences with JRPGs and Fire Emblem strategy games. Oh, David, I guess another thing that's similar to Fire Emblem, you did like the Mario and Rabbids game.
Ooh, that was a fun game.
Yeah. What do you like about that, and how is it similar to Fire Emblem?
The characters are hilarious. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just so much fun.
That's crazy. I actually did play a little bit of that. I just didn't get to finish it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Peach Rabbit's just always taking selfies. I mean, it's so relatable. No, it's not relatable at all, but she's just great.
Relatable human.
The Rabbids are just wonderful.
Yeah. I would be so down for another Mario and Rabbids game. That would be something I really think they are probably working on.
Yeah, they probably should make that, honestly.
Yeah, it was a smash hit. It's the #1 best-selling third-party game, I think, for the system.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And the DLC is great too.
It makes sense though. It was well designed.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was pretty well designed. And it was that guy's dream project to work with Mario, so... You know, heartwarming feelings, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of heartwarming feelings, heartwarming feelings, let's talk about the game. So, we're going to divide this into a couple different segments. First, we're going to start off talking about teaching and, I guess, what we're doing in our games right now. So, let's talk about houses first. I guess we'll go down the line. Dan, as someone who's never played a Fire Emblem game, can you tell me about which boys and girls in your class and house? Can you talk about the overall house layout? What's your experience with your house, and how do you like your character so far?
Yeah, I can like try and speak to that as best I can. It might be kind of tough though.
Yeah, here, just like
no, I got you. What? So like things I like about them?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So things I like. I like that they all have really good. Like most of them have like really good physical attack. And so like they do a lot of damage if you like are able to like put them in the right spot, and like those just like go to town on people, especially if they have really low defense. And then things I don't like, a lot of them don't have like great defense against magic. Pretty much all of them don't have any good defense against magic. So magic messes me up, but I haven't really ran into a ton of issues with that aside from like the first battle where you have to fight the other three houses. And then, oh man, I guess like, I also just need to get used to the play style because I keep putting my characters in positions where they could like die, and like I can't have characters die super early game because then I won't get experience. It's just gonna make the rest of my playthrough much tougher. So I have to like figure out how I need to play, if I need to be more aggressive or if I need to be more defensive. I think I need to be more aggressive, but I don't know how I need to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thinking about like what your makeup of your like team is so far,
Exactly.
You're gonna need to probably come up with some characters that can counter the ranged attacks. Basically, if you want to invest in bow and arrows, that's a good way of countering, just so your characters have counter attacks during those hard battles.
Right.
Also, just have your one of your main boys, one of your bigger boys, weaken people, kind of like how in Pokemon you switch out your weaker Pokemon and send in your big guy.
Yeah.
You do the reverse. So you have your big guys weaken it, so your small guys can do little pot shots and kill it, and then just basically get a level up because their growth rate is higher than that of like your house leader.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's about growing your characters just as much as you're growing yourself and trying to be a better teacher.
True.
Yeah. So for you, any standout characters, either in combat or their personality?
Yeah, I think the Dew would be like a real monster if I learn how to play him, because he has insane attack, So like he'll just destroy people, and like he has really good defense too. So like if I put him in situations where he gets hit by physical attacks, and if I put him on like the right tiles, he just like doesn't take damage, and he does a shitload. So like if I learn how to like play him better, then he could be really good. And like honestly, like a lot of the people in the Blue Lions, they seem to have like similar like things of what they want to do. Like they want to go in with physical damage, and just like really fuck shit up before they get hit by magic. That's what it seems like, you know. So like just don't let them get hit by magic. And then so like the dude stands out, and I feel like Dimitri also kind of stands out because like, he's the leader of the house and stuff, and I like his personality. He seems to be like kind of a gentleman, and he fights with a spear, which again I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But like as for like what his attacks do, it's like tough to tell. I just gotta spend more time with the game and like really figure things out more.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's important to note that you're still in your like very early days.
Oh
of
yeah,
Fire
this is
Emblem.
my first day I've ever played a Fire Emblem game.
So David, like for you, what was it like learning the ropes of Fire Emblem? There's stuff that's not in here that was in the older games, and we're gonna talk about that. But like, how do you think this game treats newcomers to the series? What were your early experiences, and can you offer any tips to Dan?
I mean, I think it'd be a lot harder jumping into this game for the first time.
Really?
I think Awakening's a lot simpler. You don't have to deal with all the monastery stuff. It's really just like battle.
Yeah,
And,
the monastery stuff kind of comes naturally to me from Persona. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that
I can't make.
that you couldn't make in Awakening. Like a lot of the training stuff, like you mess up the training, your team's gonna be severely like under I guess. They're gonna be a lot less strong than they really could be if you mess up a lot of the training stuff. Whereas like in other games, you just battle and you really can't mess it up too much.
Right.
So.
I think like talking about that, we have to like look at like the comparison. Like Dan is right. Like I definitely feel like this series or this entry in Fire Emblem is way more focused on the interpersonal aspects between characters. It's not about like the future babies or what was like in the past two games.
God, that was awesome.
Where like just immediately like two people would fall in love and it's just immediate like oh, my baby comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was great. He would go to like Paralogs and be like, "Mom and Dad," and they'd be like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
we just met.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like the passage of time like almost didn't exist. It was just weird and out of left field. I feel like the pacing.
I didn't realize that was the thing.
The monastery.
Yeah, it was weird.
Honestly, the monastery and the Persona like daily. Well, it's more like a weekly structure, really. With like every once in a while there'll be events that pop up, but bringing it into that. It's a lot more of a learning process for like both old players and new players. Like much of Persona does its like affinity and like skills. It's a learning process. You need to figure out the rhythm and the groove of being this teacher and teaching these students and like helping guide them. But you're still the same age, so at the same time you're trying to like increase your own stats. Early on, it's okay to make a lot of mistakes. Like, the game is very flexible, I find.
Yeah.
Like, and you can really do with whatever you want with the character. Like, you could just give all your characters magic stats or magic abilities, and early on it may be hard to, like, actually accumulate that, but
no, I kind of want to, like, go with their strengths and then just, like, recruit people later.
Right.
I think that's what I need to do.
And that flexibility, I think, is really cool to this game.
It's like I have magic users. I mean, right now, I think my biggest problem is just like knowing where to move my characters at like what time, because I haven't like ran into a lot of people with magic yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, it's like I'll cross that bridge when I get to.
Yeah. And what chapter are you on right now?
I'm like chapter 1, I think.
Oh wow.
I think I'm still at the beginning of the game. I mean, it's like the first mission where you're like fighting the mercenaries.
Yeah.
Or not mercenaries. I think they were like bandits or thieves or something.
Right, so it's very early for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll be talking about a lot of like content in the game, but we're not gonna go farther than any spoilers.
Yeah,
you've
and the
seen.
story stuff. That's
yeah,
hard.
David and I are both way farther than Dan. Dan just started today, but David and I have been talking about this for a while. And Dave is what chapter? You're around in chapter 9.
I'm on 9, yeah.
And I'm in chapter 10, going up into there. So I guess. David, what do you like about your house? Let's talk about your house.
I like how they're all really different. I don't feel like there's a lot of like unity, but not in a bad way. Just that the way they're all so quirky and different. Whereas I feel like some of the other houses maybe are a little more unified.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about like which individual characters you mean when you say that?
All of them. But I mean, well, starting with Claude, I guess this is kind of a story thing, but he wasn't raised in nobility, so like he kind of just like came back to this life. So I think he acts like just kind of like an average dude, which is really cool, and he's just like really quirky and really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're all kind of just weird, but it's good.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like another couple characters? Like even when we've been talking about on and off again, the word Raphael keeps getting brought up, and it's not hard to see why if you continue playing this game. Can you talk a little bit about the teddy bear of the Three Houses cast?
Raphael is just always like, I like to eat, and he talks about his food and his muscles all day long. And there's also this like weird like storyline sort of between him and Ignatz, who's just like super uncomfortable around him at the start because he's just like, my parents caused your parents' death. Even though like Raphael's just like, it's fine, it was an accident, they didn't do it directly. And true friendship gets formed as a result of tough times.
Serious stuff going on there in the Limber
Oh no, this game is super serious.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of dark stuff in there, and there's a lot of jokes too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. How do you think that tone like stacks up compared to old games? Do you like the new balance between extremely serious yet somewhat quirky like support scenes?
I like it, but it's very jarring at times because they'll just have like moments where it's like, oh, we're going there. And I'm just like, I'm not ready. This kid's 17. Give me like 5 more years, please.
David, do you have a favorite waifu yet? Because I think we all did male Byleth.
Yeah.
Male.
We'll save it for later playthroughs to do girl Byleth. There's a lot of stuff to explore there as well, which is cool.
I can romance to do.
We could romance to do.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Please. I support you fully. Like, you know what? No, he's Dimitri. Sorry.
Yeah.
But if you want to form like a throuple, yeah, I'm all for it.
Anyone else you want to bring up, David, about your team? Any standouts right now? Girls, boys?
Like waifus or just like...
Yeah.
Before we
general.
go into best girl,
Well,
or we'll go
this
to
is a
best
little
girl.
weird
Let's just go into
she's
best
the
girl now.
because she's the youngest, but like it's not. She's just like Lycidia is just like awesome. She's a super strong mage, and she has a really cool design and just like an awesome personality, and she's really cool. And
How old is she,
also,
David?
Dan, shut up.
No, how old is she though?
She's 15. It's weird. I know, but it's not like she's just a really strong character who has a cool design also.
Yeah.
But and then Hilda is just like a complete like airhead kind of, but she's but she's cool.
But she has boobs.
And she has pink hair and an axe. And
Yeah.
she wrecks, and after she defeats someone, she's just like Hilda, Hilda, and I'm just like, you go girl, you cheer your own name.
She chants her own name.
I'm all for it.
She
I'm
seems
all for it.
rad. She's definitely one of the ones that, like, when you walk around the monastery and you just pick out, you're like, I
Oh.
always have to talk to you because your, like, personality is just so, like, rambunctious. It's crazy.
She's great.
She's...
But then that's probably the two I like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leonie's a little bit like, I'm better than you, and Marianne's like, everyone hates me, I'm gonna go die in a hole. So
That sounds depressing.
she is depressing, yeah. All right, I'm good.
You're done with your house?
Well, I'll have best boys for later on, but
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
pass it on best
Yeah.
girls.
Well, let me talk about my house because I haven't discussed my house. The Black Eagles, the cannon class. I
The
find
canon class.
the Clannon house. Probably not, but this I think this house out of all of them, it is both the most played and the most in depth. I would say, just from early on. There's a lot of depth in my characters. Originally, there was a couple characters I didn't really like, but I'm at the point where most are good at doing their own thing, and I can respect them, but I have some obvious favorites. So, Edelgard, easy A. Emma Stone, front of the line. She's fantastic. Edelgard is deep. Her backstory is a little crazy. Once you get your support high enough, it's insane. The way she is so elegant and is trying to find her way to become this empress, she's fantastic as a character. Dorothea, she's pretty flirty, but underneath she has some insecurities that really make you love her. She's a lovable dork, kind of.
But she's no Manuela.
She's not that level, but she does respect Manuela because they were both opera singers.
Manuela's like in her 30s, and she's just like, I want some of that. I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
They seem kind of like very similar characters, but one is just like younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, they're both similar archetypes, except she's more of a priest, and Dorothy is the biggest mage, one of the best I have. And then I guess I'll just end it with, there are two characters I guess I should end with. There's Bernadette, who is a standout, and that she starts as a shut-in, and then she starts to open up, and you find more about her. That's a common theme. Like, as you learn more and more about these characters, there's like
their
more and more
personalities are
draws.
understandable.
Yeah, it's very similar to Persona, where you have to work on them to make them come out of their shell to understand them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But what's cool about Fire Emblem is because there are so many characters, even the interpersonal, like, basically it's like if Ryuji and Anne had their own, like, contract. That every character has that, so you can develop characters, cross characters. There's a lot of depth there.
That's cool.
But yeah, let's do this right here, right now. Best boy, get best girl on your team. Go.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay. I mean, I'll start with best girl because best boy is a lot harder because the Blue Lions is like mostly boys. I think it's 5 boys and 3 girls.
Yeah, jeez.
So best girl right now, I would say probably is Mercedes. Because like I thought I was gonna like Ingrid the best, but like I don't know. There's still a lot that I don't know about Ingrid, and like Mercedes is the only person who's talked to me so far, and like she's very sweet and like very motherly and heals my poverty, and I like that a lot. But she still looks like a mother who would like just die in episode 2 of your favorite anime. So there's that.
She does kind of look like Aaron's mom.
Exactly.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, although Aaron's mom is episode 1, so I guess episode 1 of your favorite anime.
Yeah.
If your favorite anime is Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks like a dead anime mother, but I still love her.
Any ringers for best boy early on? You can say Dimitri.
Yeah, I would say Dimitri right now, but I gotta learn more about my other cat because like I think Sylveon has a lot of potential because like, you know, he's just really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I want to know why Felix is literally Sasuke. And if it's a good reason, then like I'll like him. But if it's not, then you know I'll still probably keep him on my team because he's really strong. But yeah.
All right, David. What about you?
I love Claude because he's awesome and he's an archer. I love Raphael because he just likes to eat all day.
But wait, you have to pick one best boy.
Oh, we're picking one best boy?
Yeah,
all
only one.
Alright, sorry Raphael, it's Claude.
Okay.
I'm picking you.
And best girl?
Oof, Lysithea.
Lysithea? Okay.
I'm sticking with her, she's pretty cool.
Okay.
David's waiting for the time skip.
Yeah, David's waiting.
For now, it's
Nah.
if she 15, I'm 15.
Hey, the age is not shown,
Age
so we don't
is just
know.
a number. The FBI has to disagree.
The Knights of Sarah.
The Knights of Sarah.
They're coming on your
The
team.
FBI.
Alright, guys, chill. Chill.
Alright, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for best boy because we have a couple. Like, there's not much to choose. There's Casper, who's just the hothead. We have Ferdinand, who is like, I'm a lord, so I'm like cool, but he's like totally a loser. He's okay. The problem is every character I like in my class, or my class, are all women. So I wish I could do best girls as opposed to best boy and best girl. But for best boy, I'm gonna have to give it to Hubert right now. He's just taken out a lot of people, and I like his hot topic attitude, or maybe Spencer's. He's probably more like his interactions with everyone is pretty funny. And then right now, best girl is Edelgard, but that could be subject to change when Shamir becomes a permanent staple in my team.
Right.
Other than that, but of my class, Edelgard is clearly the key. All right. Let's talk about the monastery more in depth. What do you guys like about the monastery?
Persona. No, but honestly, like, yeah, I really like that aspect to it, because like one of the things I liked about Persona was like being able to manage my time, and then like hearing that there were aspects of this game that were similar to that. I think that was like part of what pulled me on board as opposed to other games, because I knew that that's like the time management system is like something that I could like kind of get into, and like also the monastery itself, like there's a lot of, it seems like it's not like huge, but it seems like big enough where there's a lot of it that I still need to explore, and there's like a lot that I can like learn about. And yeah, it's like fun running around just like talking to people there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And coming from past Fire Emblem games where there really wasn't like a hub world to this extent, like there was basically you would have like a map in like Fates and Echoes and Awakening. You would have just like a map that's like the grid-based combat, but it's just like a town, and sometimes it'll have 3D and you can run around, but it was never this in depth, never just tons of NPCs. This is the Switch power, the Switch push, which we can talk about later as well. But I do love the monastery and everything there is to offer. David, what is your daily schedule usually like when you're exploring the monastery?
I like to explore. I just don't like that I have to choose exploring or paralogs. Like in past games, you didn't have to choose. You just paralogs were like if you wanted to do them, you could do them. But now it's like you have to factor it in. Like, do I want to do other stuff or do I want to do that? Which is tough. Because usually I don't want to do them. Because exploring is fun.
But what about what about exploring is so fun to you? What do you like doing?
Just like seeing everyone and like just it's a really vast area. Just fun to look around and just see what's there.
What is the thing you do? I guess when Dan is exploring the monastery, what tips do you think we should give him right now for making the best use of his time, or at least in these early moments? And I guess for people at home too, what do you think as of chapter 8 and 9 and 10 would be the best tips for newcomers to the early sections of the game?
I mean, just make good use of the dining hall because it's good for motivation.
Yeah.
Because you can get two characters like maxed out with one activity point, which is always good.
Yeah, and then when you're like doing the teaching segment, if they're at full motivation, you can power up.
4 times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least because
I messed that up earlier.
And get extra ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I messed that up earlier. I didn't fully realize what I was doing.
Yeah.
I started to realize it first.
And it's a really good way of raising affinity between all 3 of the people who are at that dinner, like you and then the 2 supports and then also them together. And then there's also like the cooking, which gives you a stat buff for the month.
Should I start with like mostly my own team members then at like dinner?
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Yeah, okay, because I've made that mistake for sure, like a little bit.
Yeah, don't worry about other characters right now. Focus on your own team, and when you have renown, spend it. Don't forget about that, because when you're teaching, that goes a long way.
Yeah, well, we'll get to renown too, because we got to talk about what is renown and how you get it. I guess also one thing that's pretty important in learning and raising Bila stats, what you should do is you should talk to different instructors, Knights of Saros members, because you can raise up your stats, and once your stats are at a higher level than your classmates or your students, you teaching them, they'll have a better job of understanding. You'll get more experience for those like class bonus.
So I have to raise my professor level.
Yeah, you want to raise your professor level because that'll give you more time in exploring, and it'll give you just more money and a lot of bonuses.
So wait, what are the best ways to do that? Just like running around and talking to people?
So yeah, David, what do you do when you want to raise professor level?
I mean, in a lot of places, like if you like in the library and like walking around the monastery in the greenhouse, you can find like books that will like teach you stuff that will raise it. Also, you can raise it by doing like gardening in the greenhouse. You can different activities usually help raise it a little bit. Let's see. When you're instructing, if someone asks you a question and you answer it well,
yeah.
you get a lot of experience for that. Those are the main ways I'd say that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, and then just adding on, you could just pray in the church. You might have to wait a little bit to unlock that to pray into.
I think that has happened once.
Okay, yeah.
Because like Mercedes is super religious.
Exactly, she probably
like, pray in church.
Pray in church. Yeah.
Although there aren't that many characters
I
that
died
like
in episode
use
1 of Attack
that need
on
faith. So.
yeah, that does also give you faith.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, I guess we talked about cooking. We talked about different ways to raise. There's also quests, obviously, which gets you renown, as well as like materials for gardening. Which I think, if you're just going through this world and you're doing all these different tasks that you have, like a lot of tasks don't even require time, like as a unit, don't require those units of time. You can kind of just go in and you can raise your professor level for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then just talking with your students, raising your affinity through that, giving them gifts is a good way of raising motivation if you don't want to use the time to take people to dinner or teach something.
You can use like flowers and stuff like that too. And also the lost items are good because if you give them to a lot of people, then you can recruit them easier. And one way to do it, sometimes if you know someone well, you can give them the gift that you know they'll want. But sometimes you can just go down the list and you can just figure it out by trial and error.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, thank you. I'm like, you're welcome.
Is this yours? No. Is this yours? No. Is this yours? No. Is this yours? No. Is this yours? How did you find that?
Somebody's looking for that. Somebody's looking for that.
I'm sure somebody needs that.
Exactly.
It's pretty funny when you're just going through. I do that so often.
Oh, same.
It's awesome.
One thing I think is cool about Three Houses as opposed to other Fire Emblem games, this is the first one that's completely voice acted. Like every line of even just like obscure NPCs is like spoken.
I noticed that so far. Like nothing has been. There's been like I've never had to like read a text box without like hearing voice acting to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's one of those things in video games where once you see something do it, like Breath of the Wild kind of ruin a lot of open world games because now I think, oh, I can climb anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it breaks level design in many other games if you have that ability, so the lack of it there is noticeable. This is one of those things that, like, going to other RPGs, like Persona, a lot of
back to play Persona 5 the Royal.
Yeah, like that, and then Pokemon, it's going to be hard to go to an RPG that's not completely voiced. Like, I'm pretty sure The Witcher...
Pokemon's gonna be hard to go to in general because Game Freak is just...
We'll talk about that another day.
That's a topic for another time.
It is a topic for another time. But I think it is really cool that it's completely voice acted. And it's done pretty well. Like, have you had any, like, bad voice actors so far?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Everything is, like, very well done. And there was, like, very clearly, like, a lot of effort put into the script and, like, how each character was gonna act. Like, they had a very clear, like, direction with, like, where they wanted to take everybody, I feel like. And they did a good job of, like, getting that across to the voice actors. And, of course, the voice actors themselves are, like, very talented.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from what I've seen so far, everything's been good. And, like, Claude's voice actor has made, like, a ton of really hilarious videos on YouTube that almost made me pick the Golden Deer. But I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. You guys, Golden Deer has the memes, but the Black Eagles got the waifus.
And we have the best voice.
Yeah.
Lines.
Too many dicks on the dance floor. And then I guess we could talk about paralogs, but let's just like not talk about it right now. I guess it's not a big focus. But there are quests, Stan, that are battles. Mm-hmm. Like you have to train other like knights in the town or There's certain like side quests that have like a cutscene leading up to it. Then you have to do a specific battle and fulfill specific requirements, and those are called paralogs. They're just mini side stories that develop different characters, and those are cool. You'll find them over time, but it's not something you should be worrying about right now.
Yeah.
Just power up your characters.
Yeah. Make sure my boys are strong.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about combat?
Let's go.
All right, David. Why don't you start?
What? I mean, where should I start?
Let's
it's a very broad topic. That's like...
Well, I think we can divide it into a couple of what they added to Three Houses that makes it more of a different game than previous. What's a big difference to you compared to like Fates or Awakening?
Big difference, let's see. I don't know, I can't think of one on the top of my head.
Well, I mean, that's why you came up with notes that are in front of
Yeah.
your face.
This isn't my notes, this is your notes, man.
No, I can think of one. Because I've heard about, I mean, I noticed it on your notes, but like I've heard people talking about this, even though I haven't played a Fire Emblem game before. I heard about the weapon triangle.
Yeah,
And that was like a huge part of the game. And now that like doesn't exist.
yeah, which is kind of crazy. So when we found out that they removed the weapon triangle, I was pretty mixed because I was like, that's weird. It's no longer as rocks, paper, scissors as it was before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has its pros and cons. Like, I feel like some classes, like lances and swords, could always attack more times than like axes could. And there are definitely in the past there were benefits of doing certain like weapons over the other. But now they're more like streamlined. I feel like they're both like all pretty balanced now, and there is semblance of a weapon triangle through abilities and stuff that you can get. You can like raise how one weapon damages the other two, or like how you fight with them. That's different. But yeah, weapon triangle is crazy. David, what do you feel about the weapon triangle being removed?
I mean, it hasn't really bothered me so far because I think there's still a lot of distinction between each of the classes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with like one of our other topics is like the combat arts. Like I think those differentiate the classes and like the types of weapons so much that no triangle doesn't really do that much. I feel like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely think like the class arts are definitely a way of like, if there was a weapon triangle and class arts existed, it would basically just be a one shot of anyone who's just like weak to one person. I think it like balances out these weaker characters that usually take longer to raise to become good. It's a bit of an equalizer.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what do you think about combat arts? Do you want to explain what combat arts are?
Basically, just their special attacks that use weapon durability.
Mm-hmm.
And they range from just kind of doing more damage to a higher crit rate to higher avoidance to higher hit rate to attacking certain kinds of enemies, and they're really cool overall. I like them a lot. They're a lot of fun to use, and they really they're really necessary at times.
Like, what's the situation like now that you have them? What's an advantageous situation to use them in?
I forget what the combat art is called exactly, but when I was facing, what's the guy that transformed into like that beast? He's it's like part of the story.
Yeah.
We don't need to say
yeah,
the name because it will ruin it anyways. But basically, like I was having a little trouble with that. Like it was a pretty tough battle. But then Claude had like this combat art that was like Beast Slayer or something like that. I don't know what it was called.
I think that's actually might be what it's called.
That sounds like the moment in Pacific Rim they just hit the sword button and win.
But it did like an absurd amount of damage and helped me win. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, you can feel critical hits way harder in this game than any other Fire Emblem game.
I also love...
oh, dude, there's such a fancy animation.
Healing focus is also like the greatest.
Yeah.
Uses no durability. It's barely a combat art.
Yeah, no, I think combat arts are really cool because they're more of just abilities like Pokemon, and you can equip multiple. Like some are like just stat boosts or healing. Like there's so much customization that class arts give to each character.
Yeah. The Archer ones are good.
Yeah.
Curve shot and break shot.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
I've had some good times with the curve shot in the early game.
Although they're more helpful before, like, once you get higher leveled, the archers can attack from like up to 3 spaces away. So,
Yeah.
like they're less about like range which is what they were earlier in the game, and more about just like increasing your hit rate or increasing your like damage.
Right. Yeah. Man, like so many classes got buffs in this game. Like I'm personally playing as Edelgard, so I'm being affected by this the most. But Dan, magic works differently in this game than it does in other Fire Emblem games. And I'm saying this because it's a huge thing because it makes magic way more viable to be doing. Basically, in the old Fire Emblem games, magic would be tied to like scrolls, and they had durability like weapons do.
Oh, okay.
So your mages never had like specific like attacks they could do like at any point. So you would read the scroll, it would be like a fire scroll, and once it's gone, you can't do that anymore. So there would be less reason to use mages because they had that limited resource pool, as opposed to just like
character shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my boys.
Fire Emblem Three Houses gets away with this, and you through the class system you learn magic. So now you have like certain MP uses, just like swords and stuff, but at the end of the battle it recharges, so it's tied to your character now. You're not like forced to use like canes and spears and like scrolls just to attack. It's way better.
Like tomes and what was the other one called?
It was like runes or
runes.
That definitely sounds better.
Yeah.
David, when I hear runes, I think of God of War.
Good
Read
game.
these runes, boy.
David, what do you think of the magic revamp?
It is deadly. Magic is deadly. It's
Uh,
so strong.
yeah. You guys are both more like physically defensive, right? Like your teams are more physically tanky based, right?
Yeah, I'd say so for the most part. They're decent against magic, but not Raphael. He's just like, magic comes in, I'm gonna leave this party.
Yeah, Raphael seems a lot like the dude.
Yeah.
He's strong. He's
the
strong
dude
physically.
defensively. He's like really good, but again, his resistance really sucks.
Yeah. And that'll definitely change once you add more classes to their repertoire.
Yeah.
So,
right now my whole team, like, defensively, like, even physically defensively, they're not the best.
In the first chapter.
Yeah,
yeah, you're in the first chapter. They're all commoners right now.
Yeah. No, I gotta get
That's called
better.
starting the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, no, for me, it's like my strategy is not that good yet, so I have to, like, figure out how I need to approach enemies.
I'm really excited to be doing this podcast because
Yeah.
it's fun to capture your like first times with a video game.
Exactly.
Like I think that's one of the most my most favorite content on YouTube is watching people just like
slowly start to understand things more as they go on. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
For sure. Yeah, we can check in a week when I'm inevitably 60 hours into this game because I'll be addicted.
Yeah. Yeah, no, by the end of next week I feel like we'll have a lot more to talk about. And a lot more we can talk about because the story is a big reason why this game is so dang good.
Yep.
And at Chapter 1, I don't think it's fair to be talking about the future parts of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess next we have our final segment of the show. What is drawing you in more? This is a question from an anonymous asker. Oh no, they asked.
Anonymous asker.
All right, so we got many letters talking about how excited everyone is about the show. The line was out the door to get in, and we have one audience member with us today. Here he is now. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir? Hello, my name is Matt Ice, and I'd like to talk about how I think that Persona got its influence on Fire Emblem, and it's better than Fire Emblem used to be, because I like that there's a social aspect. Do you like the social aspect more than the combat? Thank you.
Johnny Gamer.
Thank you, Johnny Gamer 76. Wow. That was a pretty good question, if I do say so myself.
I might have missed it.
You missed it?
I might have missed it.
Oh, well, he said, which aspect of the gameplay do you like more, combat or the social link gameplay of Fire Emblem?
Right.
I think we need to take a minute just to say, Johnny Gamer 76, see a doctor, please. We're concerned for you. Your voice sounds horrible. And
well, laryngitis and hepatitis. It does that to you.
I have all the ices.
Lots of ice.
I'm an itis.
Oh, he's back.
Yep.
He's not. I thought the phone was hung up.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of
Somebody
here.
get him out.
Gods.
Somebody get the Knights of
Knights of Saros.
I think for me, motivation is definitely to keep playing this game. Motivation is very much tied to how my characters progress as people. It's fun seeing classes and stats and attacks and numbers go up, but when you see them like emote in different ways and like break out of their shells, that to me is why I'm playing this game. I really like the cast of characters in this game.
Yeah. I think for me, like, the cast of characters intrigues me. Obviously, I don't know that much about them yet. But for me, generally, what gets me to, like, what motivates me to play games is good stories. And I've heard that this game has a good story. So just, like, seeing how it unfolds is going to be, like, very nice for me. And then also just, like, getting better at the gameplay is going to be a huge source of, like, motivation for me. Because if I, like, hit a point where, like, something clicks and I just start to get a lot better at the game, I'm just going to be a lot more satisfied with the game and myself. And it'll just feel really good. Because I think that was really when Persona started taking off for me, is when I felt like I was starting to get the gameplay down more. And definitely Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like, when I started to get the gameplay down in that game, that was when I really fell in love with it. It was really fun trying out different strategies and, like, actually understanding what I was doing instead of just spamming arts.
Art spamming is... There's an art to art spamming.
Yep.
But if you don't, like...
it requires a little bit of timing.
Yeah, you need to organize your stats and your arts in a specific line so it does boom, 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 boom,
Exactly.
boom. Much like how I feel like there is kind of a certain flow to a Fire Emblem battle. You'll learn over time, like positioning, and the game actually. One thing that's new in this game that we didn't talk about, but I feel like we should bring it up, is the new arc that enemies have that show who they're targeting.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah.
Like in the past, we just had to like guess of who they would target. And
Well, I mean,
so,
you could just see, like, if they could be in range of where you're going to stop.
yeah, but they still could have gone around and targeted someone
Yeah,
else who was
that's true.
behind you.
Yeah.
Like this, it gives you so much more flexibility in seeing how the turn will play out, and you can just strategize way more than you could before. It's like a small little beacon of light that just makes the game so much better. There's so much thought in this game, and I really think it's good. Sorry, David. Social aspect or combat for you?
I like both a lot, but social stuff is really fun. Like, it's nice to just, like, check in each day and see how they're doing. And the way it's organized in months is really nice because, like, it has, like, an easy stopping point. Like, I finished classes for the week, like, time to just, like, take a break. Or, like, I finished this month's mission, like, I can put it down for tonight. Like, it's nice, has a very easy stopping point.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, you can check their progress, and it's just fun.
Nicely spoke.
That was as simply as I could have put it.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I like Claude, that's all I want to say.
I like Edelgard.
Like Dimitri.
You what?
Yeah, I said I like Dimitri.
Sorry, Danny's taken.
Bye.
Bye to do.
Fight
By
to do.
doo-doo.
I'll have to fight to do for. Yeah, that was like that was like my first impression to do. I like came up to him on the first day. I could like walk around the monastery, and I was like, I should like introduce myself. You know, like maybe he'll like me. I talked to him, and he was like, yeah, man, like, you know, just like stay away from Dimitri. like if you hurt him, I will mess you up. And I was like, okay. Alright, I'll just be super nice to him, and then maybe he'll respect me eventually.
Yeah, Hubert's like that for me too. He's like Lady Edelgard.
He's like, you're not trying to go in there for that booty, are you?
I'm all on top of that booty.
It's like, you can go for Shamir.
This beautiful hunk of a woman.
This beautiful hunk of a woman.
Not a woman, but a hunk of a woman.
A hunk of a woman.
A hunk of chugga burning fudge.
Burning fudge.
I can feel my temperature rising.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. Mine also doesn't have like a person who's like defensive of Claude. They're all
That's because
kinda
Claude just like roasts the crap out of everybody, so they're all just like,
it's
he can die
it's
now."
wonderful. It's wonderful. Claude is a roast master general.
I think I like asked Claude at the beginning because I was like curious to see what he would say.
Oh, he's gonna roast you hard.
Yeah, no, I asked him like what he thought of like all of his party members. And he said something about like Lysithia. He was like, yeah, she hates it when like you call her a child. So I call her a child all the time. And I was like,
troll!
and I was like, I freaking love you.
What a troll!
He's amazing.
I still
So
like
great.
Dimitri more, but I still love Claude.
Alright. Well, I guess we're getting close to that hour mark, so let's just end it with each of us saying one thing that we're looking forward to when we get back to playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. Let's start with David.
Everything. I mean, I'm just looking forward to like finishing off, like getting people to the next class. I'm pretty close to like getting everyone to the advanced class, and I'm really looking forward to just like getting a bunch of more cool stuff. Like Hilda's gonna be like a wyvern rider, which I'm really excited for.
I am looking forward to reclassing, but I'm at the point where the story is starting to kick up. There's some plot threads that are, you can kind of see where the story is trying to go.
Spicy.
Really exciting where it's trying to go. I cannot wait to tell you about, like, the story so far for me. And Dan, what about you?
For me, it's just like refining my gameplay. Like I'm looking forward to getting better at the game because right now I am overwhelmed and I have no clue what I'm doing. Well, I have like some clue what I'm doing. It's just like I have a long way to go when it comes to the combat system and like mastering it and figuring out where I need to position my units. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good first episode. What about you guys?
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah.
I
I'm
give
back
it a
in a
6.5 out of 10. Oh wait, hold on. No, actually, listen to this. This is pretty
7
good
out
stuff.
of 10. Too much better.
Stick around, man.
8.5 out of 10.
All right. Well, join us next time, probably sometime next week, and we'll talk about Three Houses more. Dan will have more time to play.
Maybe I'll be decent next week.
I feel like you will be. You've been playing for like 7 hours now.
Yeah,
Like
I
not
don't
even.
know.
Wait,
Yeah,
7
no,
hours?
less
He
than that.
started like 7 or 8 hours ago.
Oh, okay.
I think-
I think you played 7.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
I think
dude,
I've played
You're
probably...
not very far.
No, I think I've played like maybe 2 hours. Or
Okay.
Yeah.
If only Switch had like actual times we could share with people, but you know.
I will check it.
Yeah.
After this. It'll be a rough estimate.
All right. So I've been John. You can find me on Twitter at JohnMartin0625. Follow me on Twitter. David, do you have anywhere people can contact you?
No, don't follow me, please.
Dan, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
No, not yet. I'll wait until I'm more prepared.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as they say in Fire Emblem, peace out, motherfuckers.